Okay, so we're still having some technical issues with TradingView and the live stream connection. This started about 2 days back, keeps crashing the browsers, try different browsers and so on. So what I'm going to try to do is record the idea and then upload the idea through using some other software back into a stream for a little bit later on. So although this is kind of pre-recorded, you can see the date and the time at the bottom. We were only basically an hour or so in front of where we'd like to launch the stream. So in essence, what we've been covering in our community is whether or not this is a monthly or a weekly three. I think for me, it's kind of irrelevant at the moment. I think I'm looking for some bullish confirmation. We've just come out of the schematic from Wyckoff on obviously some of the smaller time frames, the daily and so on. And therefore, in Wyckoff terms, I'm expecting a retest back up to the low of the region. I think looking at some other factors, we've clearly got a one move, we've got a two move, and we have a three move. I think for me, again, lots of people have asked why don't I start the count from back 2013 and before. I think for me, being a VC investor and into technology and so on, as well as a long term trader, anything kind of before this was really noise. I don't really care too much about what went on before the kind of larger institutional players started playing. And I think for me, this is the ramp up. So, regardless of what that is, I'm looking at the simple terms as a whole. So, if I flick out to the monthly and come into the weekly, we've got a very comparable situation, just obviously a little bit more detail. I think we saw clearly a B, and a C move down. And like I said, I think in terms of Wyckoff, we would expect in a retest of this situation a couple of times. I think we clearly have a three sitting here. So there is logic for both ways in terms of whether this is a monthly or a weekly. I think the one thing I'm liking right now is clearly we're having the 3 to 4 kind of regardless. We've actually got an oversold aspect in the stochastic if I come across here. We've got an oversold aspect in this. So I think the fact that we've got relatively low volume, we are looking to potentially test the underside, which is part and parcel of the Wyckoff rules. I think we're going to see a consolidation pattern kind of holding sideways for a little bit. This will basically put the retail traders out of position and in a really kind of shitty position as a whole. And that's exactly what an Elliott 3 to 4 move does. So whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly, it's kind of irrelevant. I'm sitting on my hands kind of waiting for this. There's a couple of other factors. If I come across to the Bitcoin move in terms of the Elliott, I think the weekly is still showing not quite complete. We're not seeing the complete circle around the four at the moment. I think we've got a daily move down, which was from the all-time high being the A, the B, the C move. And I think we're actually moving into some kind of triangle or flat move here, which will obviously frustrate more and more of the retail trying to catch the bottom over and over and over again. So that's the first couple of things. The next thing, really quick, is I think we can actually see some strength in some USD pairs. I think we've actually got quite a strong USD move about to kick off. I think coming back over to the chart, what I'd like to look at on this is the DXY. And I think for me, the logic for DXY strength is I don't think it's a change of trend. I think we're actually seeing a bit of a pullback in this counter move down. So we've obviously got now a four, I would assume the five. I think for me, this is the start of the ugly move. So from potentially three, obviously four. And I think because we are looking at an overall bearish move down, I think we're just going to see a bit of a pullback before the continuation, completing its kind of journey before any form of real, big reversal comes into play. I think again the fact that the stochastic is actually way down on the weekly, literally just crossing itself over as we speak. I think we're going to get a little bit of strength. I just don't know how much strength that is, and obviously a little bit of strength in this will mean weakness for some of the other instruments. I think including Bitcoin. But one of the other areas of interest is gold. And if we look at the gold move, I think I'm looking for a bit of a pullback. We've also got a very comparable situation in the inverse to DXY. So as DXY gets stronger, gold should actually look for some weakness. And therefore, I'd like to see a move down before the continuation on up. And if that is anything to go by, I think we're actually going to start to see the same kind of move with Bitcoin. But I think on the higher time frames, on the monthly time frame, I think that we are definitely going to be moving on up, and I think this is where the discussion around whether it's a 3 weekly or a 3 monthly. I think we are going up. It's just a question of if this will turn into some kind of failed distribution, turn accumulation, some kind of spring before leaving the station, and that's obviously the last thing to really kind of hone in on, really. So again, apologies for the stream being pre-recorded an hour and a half early, but this was the best we can do with, like I said, a bad situation at the moment. So hopefully that makes sense, and we'll be live back kind of properly as soon as TradingView get it sorted. So yeah, we'll see you soon.